And now for further analysis, I'm joined by Tamara Al-Rifai. She's the Director of External Relations and Communications for UNRWA. Tamara, good to see you. Now, on a personal level, how does this suspension make you feel as someone who works for UNRWA?
Extremely worried about the 2.2 million people in Gaza who receive their life-saving support, their food assistance, their medical services from UNRWA. No one else is there for the Palestinians in Gaza in the scope and scale of UNRWA. But I'm also extremely worried about other Palestine refugees in the region. UNRWA operates in the West Bank, including in East Jerusalem, in Lebanon, Syria, and Jordan. And so a suspension of aid to UNRWA risks the suspension of UNRWA's operations, not only in Gaza during this war, but also in the entire region.
What would be your message to those countries which have suspended funding to UNRWA?
The message is that UNRWA is taking extremely seriously the allegations that were presented against a small group of its staff, so seriously that they were dismissed immediately and that their case was referred to the highest investigation authority in the UN headquarters in New York. But meanwhile, life continues, the war continues, the hardship continues, and also the exemplary behavior of UNRWA as a UN agency continues. We have 30,000 staff. All of them work tirelessly and around the clock across the region. It is for these staff who are very principled and for the larger community of Palestinians that the support to UNRWA must continue.
Just want to make sure I get this right. So UNRWA, as of now, has not found any concrete evidence that corroborates Israel's allegations, correct?
UNRWA received the allegations and dealt with the gravity of the allegations with very prompt action. But the entire case is now in the hands of the Office of the Internal Oversight, which is the highest investigation authority of the UN.
Right, and we have also seen the UN Secretary General speak about this. Now, also summarize for our audience what kind of activities, humanitarian efforts, UNRWA as an institution is engaged, especially within the besieged enclave of Gaza.
In Gaza right now and during the war, UNRWA is the lifeline of Palestinians. So we have more than 1 million people in 140 shelters of UNRWA. This is where we take food assistance, medical, mobile medical clinics, and we manage the shelters. But we also provide food and other services to the larger displaced community in Gaza. We have to remember that during these 12 weeks of war, 1.7 million people, so around 75% of the population in Gaza, has been made displaced and entirely reliant on the food and humanitarian assistance of aid agencies, of which UNRWA is the largest by far. So we manage almost everything that comes into Gaza to give it to those in need.
Now, Tamara, the reason I asked you to summarize UNRWA's activities in Gaza is because Israel's foreign minister, Israel Katz, has expressed a desire to halt UNRWA's activities in Gaza post-conflict. What do you think could be the possible ramifications of such a decision?
The fact that UNRWA works in Gaza and everywhere in the region comes from a mandate it receives from the UN General Assembly. Every 3 years, the majority of the countries of the world vote for the continuation of the work of UNRWA. So one member state cannot decide alone about the continuation or suspension of the work of UNRWA. So our mandate and the decision for us to continue to work is a global decision that comes from the General Assembly, which is where such a conversation should take place if it takes place.
Tamara Al-Rifai, fascinating insights into the topic. Thank you very much for talking to us here on TRT World. Really appreciate your taking out the time.